We pray for your continued blessing and favor to rest upon him. We pray for wisdom from heaven. I pray for your grace and your protection over him. And Father, we just pray you will continue to give our president the strength that he needs to lead our great nation.
Viewers, this video that you just saw, this video sums up the present day America. Far away from being great, Trump has turned America into a gimmick. But that's their problem and for them to solve. Or till some country decides to do a regime change operation on America. Who knows, viewers? Who knows? Well, let me tell you about something that Americans have said about India, which is deeply upsetting and totally unacceptable. The US Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau, has the audacity to say, and I'm quoting him, India should understand that we are not going to make the same mistakes with India that we made with China 20 years ago. Then the next thing we know, you are beating us in many commercial things, unquote. Viewers, where do we even begin to dismantle this arrogance and delusion? To start with, who made America the gatekeeper of India's destiny? India is not some puppet on American strings. India is not waiting for permission to grow. Our growth story is etched in the sweat and determination of proud Indians. From the farmers toiling in the fields to the tech geniuses we have coding the future, India will build its own path. Let that be clear. This remark, viewers, smacks of colonial mindset, as if America holds the keys to world success. Let's also talk about China, viewers. Christopher Landau makes it sound like America gifted China its superpower status. What an absolute load of nonsense. There is no other way of describing this. China rose through its own hard work, innovation, and sheer willpower. Not because America allowed it. The US opened doors for trade, sure, but China walked through that door and built an empire on its own terms. Now, you are spooked because India is doing the same. That is why Americans are rattled. Mr. Landau's words reveal the panic in Washington. India's rise is keeping them awake all night. And no amount of condescending remarks will pull India down, viewers. US or anyone else must remember, India could not be broken by the British Empire despite 200 years of brutal colonial rule. We fought. It took us time. We endured. We triumphed. India is a civilizational state with a history that spans thousands of years. Hub of mathematics, philosophy, trade, culture, you name it. Things that have shaped the world long before America was even a dream. So Mr. Landau represents a nation that not so long ago was grappling with the shame of slavery, segregation, and systemic injustice. His country's foundations were built on stolen land and exploited labor. Read about it. So they should spare us the lectures on mistakes, etc. India has been a beacon of knowledge and prosperity when their ancestors were still figuring out democracy. Viewers, this remark is infuriating. The government must make it crystal clear to the Americans such patronizing talk and tone is unacceptable, should be unacceptable. We are partners. We are not their pawns. If you want to collaborate, do it with respect. This arrogance is not going to help. India's foreign policy is sovereign. We decide our alliances, our trade, our future. Now let me turn to the opposition in India, viewers. Congress party and their leader Rahul Gandhi. They've been so busy bashing Prime Minister Modi that they have blinded themselves to the bigger picture. America is spooked and the reaction is proof of India's meteoric rise. Our economy is booming. Our global stature is soaring, and it's unnerving the powers that be in Washington, D.C. Yet they accuse Modi of surrendering to foreign forces. Viewers, they must know that America is not fighting Modi, they are fighting India's rise. The ecosystem must fight Modi on policy for sure, do that. It's their job. But please do not drag India down with petty politics. And speaking of poison, let's expose the fake news that the Congress is peddling about Russian oil. The Congress ecosystem is spreading lies that India got an American nod to resume buying Russian oil. Viewers, India never stopped buying Russian oil in the first place. We've been importing it steadily for years, and that is based on our national interest. We're not waiting for Uncle Sam's approval. So where's this myth of resuming after American go-ahead coming from? This is pure fakery, viewers, and this is done to paint Modi as weak. We buy what we need from whom we want, and no one dictates terms to us. But listen to Mr. Landau first.
But again, India should understand that we're not going to make the same mistakes with India that we made with China 20 years ago in terms of saying, oh, you know, we're going to let you be able to develop all these markets, and then, you know, the next thing we know, you know, you're beating us in a lot of commercial things. We're going to make sure that whatever we do is fair to our people.
Let's open this up. Sanju Verma, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Vivek Srivastav ji, Ravi Srivastav, Professor Monojit Mondol, Professor Akhil Swami, Tushar Gupta, Karan Verma completes the panel. Vivek Srivastav, here's an American leader making fun of India in India. He has the gall to say that we will not make the mistake we made with China.
Yes. I was listening to you speak when you started the program, and the way you were picking it up. I think I agree with every point. As a journalist, Pranesh, you had to speak today. Well spoken, and you spoke for the nation today. That's the best part. I stand with this country. This is my country. This country has a self-respect. I have a self-respect. Aap aate hain kahin se. You come from US, you come from wherever. You start talking about us, and you start trying to talk like a big brother. You start talking and you start saying, we are not going to do this, we are not going to do that, we are not going to do this mistake. What mistake, man? The Russians, the Chinese, even the North Koreans, whom Karan may not like, I mean, everybody has worked hard. India has worked hard. And you very rightly said, we are an ancient civilization. We have been working hard for centuries, and we have evolved. Jab kapda pehenna nahi aata tha in Americans ko, I mean, we were a civilization even then, which has evolved beautifully to this country called India. And the second thing is that he's coming over here talking in a bombastic tone. I mean, is the BJP, is the Honorable Prime Minister, is the BJP spokesperson over here, I want to target them. Aap log darte hain kya? No criticism, no reactions, no bashing, no pride for the country, no feeling at all.
Okay, we will ask that question of Sanju Verma, but Vivek Srivastav ji, मुझे ये बताइए, ये जो आपका अभी ये नया चेहरा और रूप देखा है सबने, देश ने ही देखा है. I am also surprised.
Yes.
ये आपने इसीलिए बोला क्योंकि Mr. Landau also made fun of China. इसीलिए गुस्सा आया आपको?
Not at all, not at all. I believe, and this has been our stand of this nation, whether it was Nehru or it was Vajpayee. ये 2014 के पहले देश का stand था. Americans cannot be trusted. They were never friends of India. It is the Russians who stood by us. China was always an alien country for us. We never did well with them. And suddenly, the government is going hunky-dory. Everything American is good. Everything about Trump is good. You don't make statements. You don't retaliate. Trump बोलता है, 1 महीने का मोहलत दिया आपको तेल के लिए. अरे सही है, गलत है, आप बोलो ना.
You say, पे तो आएंगे सर, उस पे तो.
I am saying you may be right. The BJP may be right. Maybe nothing is happening. Why are your lips shut?
Sanju Verma, here's the Deputy Secretary of State. What gives him the, you know, the authority, the nerve to stand in New Delhi and say something like this? And why is the government silent? I don't know of any reaction from the Ministry of External Affairs.
You know, Pranesh, very quickly a few things. I'm tempted to quote Winston Churchill, who said, diplomacy is the art of telling your counterpart to go to hell in such a way that he starts asking for directions. I'm not going to say diplomacy is about the iron fist in a velvet glove, so on and so forth. Beyond rhetoric, I will say this danke ki chot par. Silence is often a leverage. Silence is often an essential part of statecraft. Silence does not mean India has not picked a side. Silence means a graded, calibrated response, which is what the Modi government has chosen to undertake. And I want to tell your audience, not just Vivek Srivastava, the entire Dharmari ecosystem said Modi sarkar dar gayi, Russia se crude kharidna band kar diya. Yes, it is true. 2.5 months back, 27.5% of our crude imports came from Russia. But even today, as you and me speak, 19.7% of our crude imports come from Russia. तो क्या हमने किसी के दबाव में आकर did we abandon Russia? No. Were we always buying Venezuelan crude? Yes, we were. Now, what is the need to buy both Venezuelan and Russian crude?
No,
Somebody
I am
who
not.
understands.
We will come to that, Sanju Verma. We will come to the, the politics on Russian oil, and the Congress has, no legs to stand on. What they're doing is they're misleading, they're peddling fake news. That is.
Give me 10 seconds. Dekhiye, Sanju, you quoted Winston Churchill very well, but there is a mistake in your quote. He talked of diplomacy. We are talking of cowardice over here. If the government,
how are the two related?
If the, yes,
1 minute.
if the government is not hitting
Sanju
back,
Verma, or Vivek sir, 8 minutes. Sanju Verma, you are talking about silence, statecraft. I'll ask you on what you've said. I want you to listen to senior Congress leader Pawan Kheda, his take on Iran, on the death of Ayatollah Khamenei. This is what Pawan Kheda has said. Let's play it out, then I'm coming to you.
शोक प्रस्ताव में सलमान साहब ने और मैंने कांग्रेस पार्टी की तरफ से ईरान की जो लोग हैं उनके लिए एक संदेश लिखा, शोक संदेश है, और साथ ही साथ जो करबला की विरासत है, मुझे लगता है इस कुर्बानी से करबला की विरासत जिंदा रहती है। ये कुर्बानी, जैसा कि सलमान जी कह रहे हैं, इसको बर्बाद नहीं होने देना चाहिए। हम सबको इस कुर्बानी से सीखना चाहिए। इस कुर्बानी को याद रख के साथ साथ इस कुर्बानी से कुछ सीखना भी है। यही हमने अपनी शोक संदेश में लिखा।
Sanju Verma, what do you make of this remark?
Pranesh, let's get one thing very clear. Pawan Khera is not somebody who I would want to dignify with a response, but since you have played his bites, let me just remind the Congress party. September 2005, February 2006, and November 2009. On all the three occasions, the Congress party was in power, being run by Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi's kitchen cabinet. And they categorically decided to vote against Iran at the IAEA. Modi Sarkar ne to fir bhi 2024 और 25 में abstain किया. We did not vote against Iran, we abstained from voting. The second point, and very importantly, was there a condolence that was given? Yes. It was given by the Foreign Secretary, Vikram Misri. It was not a political condolence, but given at the bureaucratic level because we wanted to give a graded response and we thought it makes sense to keep it low-key. And the third and most important point I want to make is this, because the ship that was torpedoed by the Americans has been at the epicenter of controversy. India's waters, the jurisdiction extends up till 12 nautical miles from the closest coastline. And when this Iranian ship, Iris Dena, was torpedoed by the Americans, it was 240 nautical miles away from Indian waters. So my final point, Pranesh, is this. People who do not understand the difference between Indian Ocean, Indian waters and international waters, they should not be lecturing the Modi and foreign policy. And my final point, Vivek, I want you to know this. Even after reducing imports from Russia, we still import close to 20%.
No, we will come to Russia, ma'am. There's a full segment that we have on Russia. We'll come to it. Now, on this Iranian ship attacked by the Americans, in my view, many, like Karan was on the show last evening. Karan says that India should have expressed concern at the very least. This is not on. I was of the opinion that, the moment you leave Indian waters, the guest tag disappears and it is between America and Iran. But, that is difference of opinion. Ma'am, for what explains the comments made in New Delhi, the jurisdiction of the government of India surely applies to, where this event is taking place, where this Christopher Landau has said what he has. How dare he say something like this?
I think that's a very interesting question. So, for everybody who's now going berserk about what Scott Bessent and Christopher Landau had to say, let me just say this. बचपन से हमें कहा गया है, actions speak louder than words. Do we have a $138 billion bilateral trade that we engage in every year with the US? Yes. Is it one of our top 5 trading partners? Yes. Despite that, does India run a $48 billion trade surplus with the US? Yes. Does China run a trade surplus with the US? No. And let me tell you, against India, Donald Trump has only...
1 minute. Ma'am, 1 minute. Now, we've done debates on China. Now, according to your logic, then why get into this लाल आंख rhetoric? आपको पता है लाल आंख के बारे में किसने बोला था? The Prime Minister said लाल आंख. Then we have, the business relations with China. Apply the same logic, ma'am. Countries are also made of pride, ma'am. No one is saying that attack America. We can't. But at least India must stand up, or should seem to be standing up and saying that, look, we are drawing the line. This is not on.
I want to make one point very clear. ये जो मोदी जी की 56 इंच की छाती है, लाल आंख की बात करते हैं, ये सिर्फ रेटरिक है जी नहीं. हम किसी को छेड़ेंगे नहीं, पर यदि किसी ने हमको छेड़ा तो हम घर के अंदर घुसकर मारेंगे. We showcase that via Operation Sindoor. And let me tell you one very important thing, which nobody has been talking on television channels, Pranesh. Just 10 seconds. Against China, the Trump administration has imposed reciprocal tariffs. It has imposed tariffs under Section 301 of the Global Trade Act of 1974. It has imposed penal tariffs. It has imposed escalatory tariffs. Whereas against India, all we have are reciprocal tariffs, which are a routine affair. So I'm glad Trump is not equating India and China.
No, that's okay, ma'am. That's okay. But आप बोल रहे हैं कोई छेड़ेगा तो this is छेड़ना. What Christopher Landau is doing is छेड़ना. Karan?
So, Pranesh, we have a very learned BJP spokesperson and she's extremely popular. And one of the reasons why she's extremely popular is because she's extremely fierce and assertive. She draws the line right away. You can't cross the line with her. So I expect, Sanju ji, I want to ask her, when America constantly pokes us, when it says, we will allow India to buy for 30 days, it drowns a ship. I know the technicalities. I know it's not in our purview. It's more than 12 nautical miles. I get that. But when a ship which was there, which would have not been there had it not been for the joint naval exercise with us, when America completely disregards our sensitivities, don't you think the least minimum we should do is speak up at times? I mean, I understand silence is golden, but words also matter. We are the land of Chanakya, where Chanakya has said that even if somebody is biting back at you, you have to sometimes bark. You have to at least show that we can bark back. I understand that, we've done reciprocal tariffs and all of that, but we need to draw the line somewhere. It's hurting our pride. It will be taken as a sign of subservience. So it's an honest question that India should at times speak up. Today, India can speak up, Pranesh, that we will buy oil from whoever we want to. We don't need sermons or something to that tune. We can without name calling. I'm not from the Congress ecosystem where I'm saying we should show laal aankh or 56 inch ki chhati. I understand that. But at least somewhere you need to assert. That's my humble submission. Yeah.
वास्तव में पहले आपने तारीफ कर दी, उसके बाद आपने सवाल पूछा, but I will answer your question because you are also very fearless. And I'm glad that we are having a frank conversation on one of the most widely watched shows of Pranesh Roy. Let me say one thing to you. 2018, the entire Darbari ecosystem told Narendra Modi, do not buy S-400 from Russia. Modi Sarkar ne S-400 kharida. Rahul Gandhi went around town saying Chaukidar chor hai, cancel the Rafale deal. Forget about cancelling the Rafale deal, which was about 58 Rafales then. We've just placed an order for 116 more Rafale aircraft 3 months back. So Modi Sarkar darti nahi hai, but my final point. People said, should we not have at least offered condolences? Now I want Pranesh, Darbaris on your show, and more importantly, your brilliant audience to listen to this. 20 seconds. There is a statement by the PIB and a press release by the Indian Navy on its SAR. search and rescue efforts where it says that after the second Iranian ship sent us a mayday or a distress call from India, INS Tarangini, which was operating in the vicinity.
Ma'am, we've discussed all of this. No, last evening we've discussed all of this. What the Navy has done, any Navy which is professional should do. Karan is asking about what the government should do. Now, I don't agree with Karan that the government should even express concern. But, that's his question.
Just 10 seconds. Sanju ji's made some valid points. Sanju ji, we are not talking of Rahul Gandhi here for a change. I understand that their ecosystem has gone crazy. I'm not even expecting much from them. But, drawing a contrast with him on everything is actually bankrupting us in the sense that we're not having a critique of the policy right now. So if we objectively speak of the policy right now, I agree that the Modi government has brilliantly walked a tightrope. But here, when the US is constantly poking us, should we not at times speak up and draw the line in measured tones? That's the least I'm saying. I mean, bringing this out in the Navy in a subtext way, it should have been clear. This should have been condemned right away. How can you do that when there is a warship returning from our waters? I understand it's not in our nautical mile system. Why are you disrespecting our sensitivities? Who are you to allow us that we allow you for 30 days?
Quick answer, then I'm bringing the others.
My final comment is this. To everybody today who's become, and this is not with offense to you, Karan, to everybody today who's become a foreign policy expert and wants to give unsolicited advice to the Modi government, kaan khol kar pehle ye suniye. The biggest achievement of Narendra Modi's foreign policy is a word called dehyphenation. We've dehyphenated our policy on Israel vis-a-vis Palestine. We've dehyphenated our policy vis-a-vis the Arab world and the Zionist world. Today, UAE is with us. Kuwait stands with us. Bahrain stands with us. Jordan stands with us. Oman stands with us. कौन खड़ा है ईरान के साथ? राहुल गांधी, पवन खेरा, जिनकी खुद की
हैसियत. Government of India is also standing by Iran, ma'am. Why are you singling out Pawan Kheda and Rahul Gandhi? You know what the government has said. I'll tell you 1 minute, Sanju Verma ji, 8 minutes. And by the way, you said everybody has become foreign policy experts. As citizens, हम किससे सवाल पूछें? Khamenei तो है नहीं. सवाल तो आप ही से पूछा जाएगा, ma'am. Should I go to Tehran and ask questions? I can't.
पूछिए सवाल, come on. I said Karan has every right, you have every right.
Karan to ma'am, no, it is for Karan to, take offense or not. I will do my talking. But let me show you what the post from the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs was. Let's put that on our screen. This is Randhir Jaiswal. And I began my show last evening and I said that, look, Vikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary, has done a commendable job by, not writing anything specific in the condolence book. Then I saw this post. Look at what it says. Vikram Misri visited Embassy of Islamic Republic of Iran, signed the condolence book on behalf of people, Government of India, all fine, on demise of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. Congress bhi to yahi bol rahi hai. And by the way, the government has had to do this after Sonia Gandhi wrote an article.
Look, Pranesh, again now this time, with no offense to you, Randhir Jaiswal, the MEA spokesperson, or Vikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary, signing the condolence book or writing on X is very different from a Narendra Modi or an S. Jaishankar offering condolences. There is something called offering condolences in a low-key, graded, calibrated manner, which is what we did during turbulent geopolitical times. And I think the least any sane Indian citizen can do is appreciate what the Modi government is doing at this stage.
Ma'am, the message of Misri was low-key, graded. And I commended what he wrote. We have that also. It will come up on your screen. And now, by your logic that, these are bureaucrats, then you shouldn't be quoting what the Navy responded, what the Navy's response was. What is the government's response then? If you are delinking the two, फिर वहां नेवी वाला एग्जांपल नहीं चलेगा मैम. बस इतना सा बोल रहा हूं. Now 1 minute. Now let me bring in the others. Sir, वो भी बोलने ही आए हैं. Tushar, let's come to the Russian oil now. The Congress party, from early this morning is having a field day. उनको लग रहा है पता नहीं क्या हो गया. We've got a statement which will, bring us to par. Somebody has written a piece also. फिर वो delete हुआ. You know the fiasco that I'm talking about.
Yes, Pranesh, I know the fiasco you're talking about. I know the Samajwadi spokesperson who probably penned his wet dreams into an article that was later published on a digital newspaper. But since you're on the question of can US dictate terms to India, a month ago when the US-India trade agreement was being signed, the same lobby, the same opposition said we have surrendered our sovereignty, that our oil imports from Russia are down to zero. Guess what? For February, our oil imports from Russia made up for 20% of our total crude imports. Now, please understand, the choice of our country, the choice of our importer doesn't depend on diplomatic partnerships or how the geopolitical friendships are working. It depends on the price. The differential in the Russian crude versus the crude in the rest of the world has come down significantly since 2022. So it makes sense for us to diversify our buying options, which we did in February, which we did in January. Even Bloomberg and other terminals have carried out enough data that show that there was significant number of crude barrels at the sea, which were headed towards Asia, especially towards India. So at no point did we stop buying crude from Russia. So all that lobby, all that fear mongering that was happening a month ago was absolutely wrong. Now, number two, when the US says that we want to allow India to take up crude from Russia, how are they allowing us for something that they are already doing without any without any worry? We've been doing this since 2022. In August 2022, Joe Biden asked Narendra Modi that you shouldn't be importing crude from Russia, and we were doing that for the next 4 years. And we're continuing to do so. Please, people confuse the choice of our importer with geopolitical personalities. Our choices are dictated by price because price dictates economics. Economics dictates the life of every citizen in India. That is how oil equation works. And that is a clear example of how the Indians stand up to US interests.
Professor Swamy, why is the Congress saying that this is surrender by the Prime Minister? Oil तो कभी हमने खरीदना बंद ही नहीं किया, तो रिज्यूम कैसे कर रहे हैं? और किसकी परमिशन चाहिए हमें?
प्रणेश, जब मैं 6-7 साल का था, जब क्लास से बाहर जाता था तो कहता था मैम मे आई गो आउट फॉर टॉयलेट, और तब मुझे मैम अलाउ करती थी. जब मैं प्रोफेसर बना तो मेरे स्टूडेंट्स मुझसे कहते थे सर कैन आई गो आउट फॉर 5 मिनट्स फॉर गोइंग टू द वॉशरूम. मैं कहता था yes go but come back within 5 minutes. Now America is telling us, and everybody is talking, Mr. Gupta is talking about Reliance Industry notified that they have reduced buying oil from Russia. He is talking of economics and finance. The Russia is giving a rebate discount of $11 per barrel to China. He is offering also $11 per barrel to us. Strait of Hormuz has been closed for us by Iran, and they are allowing only China to be from there.
Okay, now देखिए प्रोफेसर साहब प्लीज आई बेग योर इंडल्जेंस हियर. आपने जो एग्जांपल दिया कि आप 5 मिनट के लिए जाते थे जब आप स्कूल में थे 6-7 साल, मुझे लगता है वो जो 5 मिनट आपने मिस किया उसी में 2-3 कॉन्सेप्ट्स पढ़ाए गए, और वो जो तब डोंट लाफ, नो 1 मिनट ब्रेक्स माय चेन ऑफ थॉट्स. मैं सर सुन लीजिए सर, सुन लीजिए प्रोफेसर स्वामी, सुन लीजिए सर, सुन लीजिए. आप रिलायंस का एग्जांपल देखिए सर, प्राइवेट और गवर्नमेंट कुछ होता है डिफरेंस? बस बेसिक. अभी तो आपने जो चाइना पे बोला उस पे तो मैं बाद में आऊंगा. लेट मी जस्ट गेट दिस आउट ऑफ द वे. इफ रिलायंस इज नॉट बाइंग और सेइंग वी आर नॉट बाइंग, हैज द गवर्नमेंट एवर सेड वी हैव स्टॉप्ड बाइंग? शो मी वन स्टेटमेंट.
आपने एमए एंटायर पॉलिटिकल साइंस पे किया है या गलगोटिया में आप पढ़े हैं, जिसने हमारे देश की इज्जत को मिट्टी में मिला दिया और उसके चांसलर और वाइस चांसलर अरेस्ट नहीं हुए अभी तक. आपके गुर्गे
यही जवाब है सर, यही जवाब है. रिलायंस और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को कंफ्यूज कर रहे हैं आप, यही जवाब है. आप गलगोटिया से आगे बढ़िए.
अनिल अभी ये बात कर रही थी उसकी राफेल की. राफेल में जिस आदमी को अपने एसोसिएट बनाया था वो आदमी आज फ्रॉड कंपनी का मालिक है, भागा भागा फिर रहा है, स्वीडिश घर का इंतजाम कर रहा था जो एप्स्टीन फाइल में नाम आ रहा है जिसका आप लोग बात.
प्रोफेसर स्वामी, मैंने बोला रशियन ऑयल, आप कहां चले गए? पहले आप स्कूल गए, फिर स्कूल से निकले, अभी आप एप्स्टीन फाइल्स पे चले गए. अब मैं क्या करूं सर? दिस इज हाउ अ डिबेट इज डिरेल्ड. प्रोफेसर मंडल, व्हाई इज द ऑपोजिशन सेइंग ओके तुषार हैज अ फैक्ट चेक? तुषार, क्विकली.
Because the so-called professor on this panel confused the crude imports from Russia and the Strait of Hormuz the Russian crude that is imported to India doesn't pass through the Strait of Hormuz, it passes through the Suez Canal. तो प्रोफेसर साहब की ज्योग्राफी तो बिल्कुल दुरुस्त नहीं है, पता नहीं कैसे फैक्ट्स बोली जा रहे. दूसरी चीज, he says the Chinese vessels are being allowed to pass through the Strait of Hormuz is also a fake news. तो प्रोफेसर साहब बाथरूम कम जाइए, थोड़ा किताबें पढ़िए, समाचार पढ़िए.
That's okay. You can't stop people from taking washroom breaks now. Tushar, go easy. Professor Mondal, sir, aap bhi professor hai. Is the Congress right in saying that, you know, the government of America has now allowed the government of India to resume buying Russian oil?
Why is the Congress saying it? It's America saying, not the Congress party. And the government of India should come out and debunk that if they are not subservient to American president. Why is that 56 inch ka chhati aapke ghar mein aake aapko tamacha maar ke chale ja rahe hai? Not a single word. Now silence has become wisdom for you. Silence has become craft for you, craft of diplomacy. I mean, come on. A person who speaks every now and then on every other issue, I'm talking about the Prime Minister, 56 inch ka chhati, not a single word of condemnation for this kind of insult to the nation. ये आपकी राष्ट्रवाद है, ये आपकी nationalism है. Shame on that kind of राष्ट्रवाद. ये आपकी patriotism है. What is it patriotism? I mean,
Professor Mondal, 1 minute. Sir, have you forgotten what the Prime Minister said in Parliament when Trump was making those wild claims that, look, we discussed this on phone? He said, this did not come up for discussion. Why is my question, Professor Mondal, just think of this for 1 minute. I began by saying that, look, Americans are fighting India. They are not wanting to defeat Modi or BJP. At least on issues like this, we should try and speak in one voice. When you know the Americans are lying through their teeth, why are we giving their, propaganda oxygen? Why?
If the Americans are lying, it's incumbent on the government of India to dismantle those lies. A lie speaking thereafter for the last 1 year since Sindoor operation, and not a single word of dismantling of those lies. The people will take them as truth.
Okay, so the opposition, okay. Okay, now here's an example, Professor Monojit Mondal. Trump said Indian economy is dead. Rahul Gandhi repeated that. Is the Indian economy dead?
Indian economy is not dead, but Indian
that's the answer to all your questions. Ravi Srivastav ji, Russian oil पे विपक्ष झूठ क्यों बोल रहा है?
Pranesh, first of all, you must listen to what Rahul Gandhi said in the parliament, or floor of the parliament, that this is going to happen. We have been reduced to an American colony. That's all. We are puppet. We are a banana republic. We are a client state. What are we? They will tell us for 30 days window given to you for buying Russian crude. I know the oil in and out. I have worked 30 years in an oil company. What kind of statement is this? They have reduced us to nothing. And every day they are coming to our land and making this kind of statements. What you gave in your teaser, that script was perfect, whosoever wrote it. But that word should come from the Prime Minister of India.
Now, Ravi Srivastav, since you are an expert on oil, 1 minute. मुझे ये बताइए सर, आपके सोर्सेज ने क्या बोला? Did India stop buying oil from Russia?
I never said it. India stopped buying. India reduced buying. Because that was under US pressure.
Reduce or increase तो that depends on us. Yes.
All your knowledge and wisdom of the oil industry, मुझे एक बात बता दीजिए, सिंपल सी बात बताइएगा. फरवरी के महीने में इंडिया का लार्जेस्ट कहां से बाय हुआ क्रूड ऑयल? What was the source of India's largest crude oil?
What will he say?
I'm asking him a question, Pranesh. What was India's biggest source of crude oil in the month of February? Which country?
How will he listen? He only listens to Rahul Gandhi and he answers.
It is Russia, by the way. We were the biggest buyers. Russia was our biggest source of crude oil in the month of February.
Okay.
So, that's a fact on record.
Yes. Pranesh, I just want to say one thing to Mr. Swami, who's a professor. The argument being given here is China is also getting a $10 to $11 discount on crude. India is also getting a $10 to $11 discount. तो कौन सी बड़ी बात हो गई? 56 इंच सीने का ये नतीजा है कि the crude that India buys from the US is light, sweet crude, which is very easy to refine, with very low sulfur content, with very low viscosity, whereas the crude which China buys from US has high API gravity, has high viscosity, has high sulfur content, is heavy crude, which is very tough to refine.
ओके विवेक श्रीवास्तव, चाइना सिर्फ सब स्टैंडर्ड बनाता नहीं है, सब स्टैंडर्ड खरीदता भी है। मेड इन चाइना, ये देखिए आप, अब सच्चाई है चाइना।
मैं तो अब रवि श्रीवास्तव जी की हमने पूरी बात सुनी सर की, अखिल स्वामी प्रोफेसर साहब हैं उनकी सुनी हमने, करण की सुनी और आपकी भी सुनी। एक मजाक चल रहा है इस मुल्क के अंदर, रशियन ऑयल आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है, आप इन चीजों को हटाइए। आप मुझे सीधी बात बताइए, आपने डिबेट शुरू करी और वो क्रिस्टोफर नाम का आदमी यहां पे आके आपको थप्पड़ मार के चला गया। उसके बाद साहब डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के यहां से एक और मैसेज आता है, कहता 30 दिन की मोहलत तुमको मैं दे रहा हूं, फिर एक थप्पड़ मारता है, फिर वो आकर के चला जाता है। और मैं पुरानी बातों पे जाऊंगा ही नहीं। कैन दिस कंट्री नो फ्रॉम द बीजेपी एंड द ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर कि ये नौटंकी कब तक चलेगी कि हर कोई आएगा तो थप्पड़ मारेगा? आप बोलेंगे भाई डिप्लोमेसी, रिश्ते नहीं खराब होने चाहिए, कोई बात नहीं, 4 चपेट और मार दो, हम तैयार बैठे हुए हैं, 10 स्टेटमेंट और दे दो हमारे खिलाफ। आई मीन दिस इज नॉनसेंस। टेक अ स्टैंड। नोबडी इज सेइंग गो एंड फाइट अ वॉर विद अमेरिका। लेकिन आप स्ट्रिक्टली डिप्लोमेटिकली अपने हाई कमिश्नर्स के थ्रू, वहां आपका एम्बेसडर है, उसके थ्रू आप बोल तो सकते हो कि भाई अमेरिकी तुम्हारा एक आदमी यहाँ पे आया था।
सर हो गया सर।
विवेक जी एक छोटी सी बात।
हाँ जी सर,
आपको तो फैक्ट्स पता है ना। लीव असाइड व्हाट समवन इज सेइंग, फरवरी में व्हिच वाज आवर बिगेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ क्रूड ऑयल, हु डिड वी बाय क्रूड ऑयल फ्रॉम?
नो।
यस और नो? डिड वी बाय फ्रॉम रशिया? यस और नो?
डोंट ट्राई टू कवर अप।
नो इशू देखो नाउ
अरे अभी कैसे इशू नहीं है? राहुल गांधी
वो इशू नहीं है,
कांग्रेस पार्टी बोल रही है, वो इशू कैसे नहीं है?
अब फैक्ट्स की बात करो।
ये बेइज्जतियां जो हो रही है ये ठीक है?
किसी ने बोला ठीक है
तो बोलिए पहले कि ठीक नहीं है।
बोल चुका हूं मैं।
हाँ।
किसने सबसे ज्यादा ऑयल हमने किससे बाय किया फरवरी में? नाम लीजिए।
बिल्कुल रशिया। लेकिन क्या जो जनवरी में था, दिसंबर में था, नवंबर में था,
तो हमारी सहूलियत है,
क्योंकि आपका अगले 6 महीने में।
एक मिनट सर, ये क्या आप
सोर्स ऑफ क्रूड ऑयल इन द मंथ ऑफ फरवरी कौन?
सर ये एक आइसोलेटेड सवाल आप पूछ रहे हैं।
आइसोलेटेड नहीं है सर,
ये गलत सवाल है, क्योंकि आपका रशिया के साथ जो भी खरीदारी है आप देख लीजिए।
विवेक श्रीवास्तव, व्हेन वाज द लास्ट टाइम यू स्पोक सो मच ऑन अ डिबेट? आपने पिछले में कम बोला था, अभी ज्यादा बोल रहे हैं। नहीं तो ऐसे कैसे होता है सर? ये क्या कर रहे हैं आप? भी डिड यू आल्सो टेक अ वॉशरूम ब्रेक? आपका शायद लंबा होगा, फिर आप व्हाई आर यू डूइंग दिस?
वन स्मॉल
अगर मैटर नहीं करती है।
1 मिनट, लेट्स नॉट टॉक ओवर ईच अदर प्लीज।
20 to 40% of our crude oil imports are from Russia consistently, depending on discounts.
Sir, see how what we will see when we, you know, when it comes to that. अभी से preempt करके अटैक कर रहे हैं तुषार।
1 महीना पहले विवेक श्रीवास्तव बैठते हैं डिबेट में, कहते हैं सॉवरेनिटी सरेंडर होगी, हम रशिया का तेल क्यों नहीं मंगा रहे। 1 महीने बाद कहते हैं मंगा लिया तो इसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात हो गई। 4 साल पहले यही कह रहे थे रशिया से तेल क्यों खरीद रहे हो, व्लादिमीर पुतिन तो यूक्रेन के साथ जंग कर रहा है। ये वो फ्रॉड है प्रनेश जो कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी के मैनिफेस्टो में लिखते हैं कि इंडिया शुड मूव टुवर्ड्स डीन्यूक्लियराइजेशन, और ये फ्रॉड यहां बैठ के कहता है इसको थप्पड़ लग गया, उसको थप्पड़ लग गया। ये लोग फ्रॉड हैं, जिस थाली में खाते हैं उसी में थूकते हैं। विवेक श्रीवास्तव जैसों की सच्चाई है, इनकी हस्ती है, और ये हमें सिखाएंगे कि डिप्लोमेसी क्या है, डायलॉग क्या है, डिस्कोर्स क्या है।
तुम खाए जाओ थप्पड़, तुम खाए जाओ थप्पड़, हम तो नहीं खाते, हम कम्युनिस्ट हैं, हम तो नहीं खाते थप्पड़।
फ्रॉड हो,
चीन खाएगा थप्पड़, नॉर्थ कोरिया खाएगा थप्पड़,
फ्रॉड हो,
समझ गए?
विवेक श्रीवास्तव
हम नहीं खाएंगे, तुम खाओगे थप्पड़।
फ्रॉड।
हाँ, हम फ्रॉड नहीं है, स्वाभिमान है,
स्वाभिमान। अभी
स्वाभिमान,
अरे
जो बेच खाया बीजेपी ने।
सर सवाल तो सुन लीजिए, स्वाभिमान जवाब देने में भी तो दिखाइए। ये जो आपने मैनिफेस्टो में लिखा था न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स हटा दो, तो थप्पड़ का जवाब कैसे देंगे आप?
अब आप सुन लीजिए,
दिखा के।
अब आप सुन लीजिए ना, मैं वही कहता हूं, सिलेक्टिव सवाल आप लोग पूछते हैं। लेफ्ट ने बोला ग्लोबल डिसआर्मामेंट करो, हम पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे। पहले अमेरिका,
आपकी कोई सुन रहा है? आपने कह दिया
तो हम भी नहीं कर रहे,
कोई सुन नहीं रहा।
हम तो कह रहे हैं लड़ जाओ ना ईरान से, ईरान के साथ
सुन नहीं रहा।
आप ईरान को समर्थन दीजिए ना।
वोट आते हैं,
ये लोटा पोटा मुझे मत सुनाओ।
तुम लोग सब न्यूक्लियर डिसआर्म करो, करोगे कि नहीं करोगे? हम पहले ही कर देंगे।
ये हमने नहीं कहा ऐसा, गलत है।
एक मिनट, ये बोल रहे हैं ईरान से।
It was said in a different way. आप पहले
विवेक श्रीवास्तव सर, एक मिनट सुन तो लीजिए। कोई बात नहीं, हमारी मैंने लिखा था, आपका मैनिफेस्टो मैंने लिखा था।
प्रॉब्लम ये होती है पत्रकार जो नए नए आप पढ़ते नहीं है ना, समस्या होती है, बुरा ना मानिएगा
सर। ऐसा मेरी बात सुन लीजिए। नहीं, मैं कोई कोटा सिस्टम से नहीं आया हूं सर, एक मिनट।
कोई बात
पढ़ के आया हूं मैं।
आप पढ़ के आए तो मेरे को 10 सेकंड दे दीजिए।
नहीं दूंगा ये, मैं आपको 10 सेकंड
बात थोड़ी ना।
मुझे ये बताइए, मैनिफेस्टो का जो प्रॉमिस है वो चाइना मानेगा?
अब मैं कुछ बोल दूं सर?
चाइना मानेगा?
मुझे 10 सेकंड मिलेगा, 10 सेकंड देंगे आप मुझे?
बोलिए।
जी सर, देखिए लेफ्ट का एक अपना स्टैंड रहा है पिछले 70 साल से। लेफ्ट कह रहा है पृथ्वी के ऊपर वॉर ना हो। लेफ्ट ने कहा है कि न्यूक्लियर डिसआर्मामेंट ग्लोबल तरीके से करो, भारत उसमें पार्टिसिपेट करेगा। दिस इज द स्टैंड, इट इज नॉट स्टूपिडिटी
अभी आप बोल रहे हैं गो एंड सपोर्ट ईरान, फाइट द वॉर।
एक सेकंड, 100 चूहे खाके बिल्ली हज को चली, सुना है ना आपने प्रणेश?
हाँ वो ठीक है।
माओ और स्टालिन ने कितने लाखों करोड़ों मार दिए, और फिर ये ग्लोबल पीस की बात कर रहे हैं और डिसार्म की बात कर रहे हैं। मतलब पहले डिसार्म करो, बाकी सबको फिर खुद छोड़ोगे।
विवेक श्रीवास्तव, तुषार, आई एम कमिंग टू यू राइट आफ्टर दिस। ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट प्राइड। व्हाई इज द गवर्नमेंट क्वाइट? बोल क्यों नहीं रही है सरकार? संजू वर्मा, दैट्स फॉर यू।
Yes. You know, बार-बार first and foremost, let me say one thing. मोदी सरकार को ना तो रवि श्रीवास्तव, ना तो विवेक श्रीवास्तव, ना तो ममता बनर्जी के पेट दरबारी मनोजित मंडल, ना फिर मिस्टर स्वामी से कोई भी फॉरेन पॉलिसी पर एडवाइजरी नहीं चाहिए। Please get this very clear. You guys are paid to come on national television and abuse Prime Minister Modi. Shame on you. औकात में रहिए।
No, ma'am, 1 minute. You may choose not to answer that question. Let's not get personal here.
Let me come in. Okay. Pranesh, I just want to add to what Karan said, because I always say I corroborate my facts with hard numbers. This is the latest data. It will take me 10 seconds. We imported 1.16 million barrels of crude in February from Russia. We imported 1.03 million barrels from Iraq. 0.79 million barrels from Saudi Arabia, 0.4 million barrels from UAE, 0.3 million barrels from United States, 0.25 million barrels from Angola, and 0.24 million barrels of crude per day from Kuwait. 1.16 million barrels of crude every single day from Russia in February 2026. हम करके दिखाते हैं। हमको छेड़ोगे तो हम घर के अंदर घुसकर आपको आपकी औकात दिखाते हैं।
नहीं मैम, ये तो मैंने आपको बोला, वो छेड़ने वाला एग्जांपल मत दीजिए। एटलीस्ट टिल द गवर्नमेंट कंडेम्स व्हाट मिस्टर लैंडाउ हैज सेड। प्रोफेसर गिरी सर, प्रोफेसर स्वामी, सॉरी सर, बोलिए।
आप मुझे बोलने देंगे कि नहीं देंगे? ये तुषार गुप्ता दूसरे पैनलिस्ट को फ्रॉड कह रहे हैं। गलगोटिया यूनिवर्सिटी जैसी फ्रॉड यूनिवर्सिटी जो ये कहती है मोदी जी से इंस्पिरेशन लेती है, उसको अरेस्ट क्यों नहीं किया आपने? मेरे देश की प्रतिष्ठा को नुकसान पहुंचाया। गलगोटिया यूनिवर्सिटी से क्या मिली भगत है आपकी?
यही बोलना था सर आपको।
कितना पैसा मिला है आपको गलगोटिया यूनिवर्सिटी? कितना पैसा खाया है आपने?
प्रोफेसर साहब, ये तुषार गुप्ता भी मुझे शक है गलगोटिया में ये भी वहीं पढ़ता होगा।
विजिटिंग फैकल्टी
पढ़े हुए हैं तुषार।
अखिल स्वामी इज बाय द वे द विजिटिंग फैकल्टी देयर। वो जाते हैं, वो इवनिंग बैच को पढ़ाते होंगे।
प्रणेश, सच्चाई ये है, प्रोफेसर स्वामी को बहुत यूनिवर्सिटियों से लात मार के बाहर निकाला गया है। गलगोटिया उनमें से भी एक है। तभी यहाँ आके बड़बड़ाते रहते हैं।
तुषार, प्लीज, let's not get personal. Come on. Just because one person is, crossing the line does not mean we follow the calm down. Please, you have facts at your disposal, Tushar. You don't have to do this. Please. He's a senior guy.
Stoop down to their level, these idiots.
No, Tushar, no. This is not the way. Tushar. Please, calm down, please. Let's, sir, 1 minute रुक जाइए, sir. ऐसे एक दूसरे को, you can't use these words. Tushar, please, Tushar, please don't do this. Professor Swami, let's not attack each other. किसी को कुछ बोलना, sir, slight banter here and there, ठीक है, गलगोटिया तक ठीक है, but nothing beyond that. सर बोल सकते, मैंने कुछ बोला? उन्होंने जब बोला गलगोटिया, मैंने कुछ नहीं बोला। रवि श्रीवास्तव, आप बोलिए सर, आप बोलिए।
Pranesh, can I ask one statement? Where is the free trade agreement which you are referring to? Where it is signed? Agreement sign नहीं हुआ और conditions apply होनी शुरू हो गई। कहाँ agreement? Where is the agreement? Show us. We have signed free trade agreement with the US. Where is the agreement? Conditions have been applied. Agreement is not in sight anywhere.
Sanju Verma.
Why you are lying on national channel?
I want to answer this. Pranesh, this is basic economics 101. First, there is the terms of reference which is signed. After that, there is an interim agreement which is signed. After that, there is the BTA, bilateral trade agreement or comprehensive BTA which is signed. Then there is a full-blown FTA which is signed. With the US, we signed an interim agreement. We were moving towards the BTA. And since then, what has happened? The US Supreme Court has intervened and put a cap at 10%. तो जो लोग कहते थे 18% क्यों है, अब इनको 10% से दिक्कत है. जो लोग कहते थे 50% क्यों है, उनको भी अब 10% से दिक्कत है. Let me tell you, China still, because of Section 301 tariffs, has to pay 45%. India pays only 10%. 56 इंच सीना ये करके दिखाता है. समझ में आया कुछ? बेसिक इकोनॉमिक्स जाके पढ़ो, बाद में आकर बीजेपी को भाषण देना.
मतलब आपके इंटरिम एग्रीमेंट आपने साइन कर लिया और काम चालू.
कौन सा काम स्टार्ट हो गया? क्या काम स्टार्ट हो गया?
No, they have started implementing.
क्या implement हो गया?
क्या implement हो गया? Are we buying oil from Russia? Yes or no?
How long will you buy? How long
We've
will you
been
buy?
She just said.
How long will you buy?
We will
After this
continue.
agreement?
We will continue
After
buying
this
oil
agreement?
as per our needs. Pranesh.
After this agreement?
All I want is this should be asserted
this
and
agreement?
stamped to this uncouth
इस
secretary,
agreement के
treasury
एक
secretary,
सवाल,
Scott Bessent.
करण एक सवाल. इस agreement
नहीं
के
एक मिनट,
sign
तुषार
होने के
तुषार
बाद
wants to withdraw what he said. 1 minute. एक मिनट, तुषार whatever he said, he regrets what he said. वो कुछ बोल रहे हैं.
No, two things people are forgetting. Last month, the government did not confirm, did not agree to what the US trade representation said, that we are not going to buy Russian oil. The proof is right now in the date of February when 20% of our crude imports are coming from Russia. Number three, this month you will see a sharp rise in the volume of crude imports from Russia, given our diversification options. And that is the point I've been making since day one, that India's strategic diversification of crude imports depends on the price.
और now, 1 minute, before we end the show, I just want to ask one question of Sanju Verma. मैम, आपने वो सोनिया गांधी वाला पीस तो पढ़ा होगा. उसमें वो क्या बोल रही थी? सरकार ने वही कर दिया.
अरे कम ऑन प्रणेश जी, सोनिया गांधी की पीस को पढ़कर यदि मोदी सरकार को रिएक्ट करना होता, then the Modi government would have abandoned the Great Nicobar project in the Andaman. Sonia Gandhi stood against the Great Nicobar project. Has Modi government abandoned the Great Nicobar project? Sonia Gandhi says, US के साथ कोई भी रिश्ता मत रखिए and jump into somebody else's war. We will negotiate on our terms. We will navigate on our terms.
Okay,
we
so
will speak when we
Sanju
have
Verma,
to speak.
then it
We
is
will
safe
be
to say that at least on the issue of Iran, Congress and BJP are on the same page now. Pawan Kheda is saying what the MEA spokesperson wrote in his tweet. The same sentiment.
The BJP is always guided by only one policy, though this may sound cliched: nation first, Atmanirbhar Bharat. And the Congress is guided by one policy.
Okay, ma'am, I
don't know whether I should call it Iranian National Congress.
I'm glad that, you know, nation first is still priority. Just use that policy and send out a loud message to this lout Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau. He must know that this is not on. He can't come to New Delhi, say anything and get away without a response. We've run out of time. Thank you for joining us.